Going on, everybody? Listen, man. I'm coming to you. This is part two, of the redo, if you will. So I recorded everything from the box breaker event, and everything went through well, but there was no sound. So we're going to try to reproduce what was given. Um, Last night, I know that we can't recapture anything, so we're just going to believe that the things that were spoken we'll be able to still speak about and still add the same amount of value going forward. All right, so here we go with the redo of the box breaker event. So first of all, thank you for whenever you're taking the time to witness this video, thank you for tuning in on that. We believe that box breaking is a natural occurrence of elevation. So that's why we're here talking about box breaking. So let's get right into it. There is a foundational scripture that we've been using, and that's Proverbs 16 and 9. And it says this: a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Right. So breaking that down a little further is even your redirections are still in the right direction. Oh, here we go. Even your redirection is the right step in the right direction. You can have the plan, but that rejection acts as redirection to get you to the places that are going to be receptive of your purpose. And that's what box breaking is all about. Um, so let's get into it. In late 2004, I heard the Lord speak clearly to me in terms of this 2025, the year of the box breaker, right? And we're like, oh, okay, well, box breaking, what does that really mean? So I'm glad that you asked. Let's go ahead and get right into it, okay? Uh, Now, I want to be fully transparent. I have received that word, and I've received a word prior to that, that 2020 will be the year to see clear. Um, and that time filled with heartache, heartbreak, trial, tribulation, betrayals, and just downright sucky, bad situations. Um, let alone being in 2024 and experiencing some of the most heartbreaking and heart-wrenching things that I could deal with. It was mentally taxing, it was physically painful. Um, it was a lot to deal with. But there's a quote by the theologian Kierkegaard, and he says that life must be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. While going through those situations, we aren't always able to understand. Uh, we may even have questions, right? I've learned that the faster that you get out of pity, you can see the situations. They're not scolding, but school. Um, you can see when we're full of purpose, setbacks are opportunity for learning. The struggles, the fears, the doubts, they all pointed to one mission, which was to break free from the boxes that have been holding me back and enter 2025 or whatever season you're encountering this video to enter into your next season. Uh, Liberated, strong, and full of purpose and clarity on purpose. To do this, I had to ensure that I recognize and begin to break all boxes. So just pausing right there for a moment. Have you felt inside of you? Like you might have a good job, you might have a good family situation, you might have, good living situation, you're driving good, you're eating good. All of these things are happening for your good, but there's something missing inside. I'm sure that you felt that way, and I want you, if you haven't felt that way, then this video isn't for you, obviously. But for those who have, uh, this video is for you, and hopefully we're able to add some value to you in terms of breaking free from the boxes and feeding that inner hunger that nothing has been able to quench. So box breaking is about shattering the preconceived perfections. I'm sorry. Let me start that over. Box breaking is about shattering the preconceived perfections that paralyze you. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, facing your fears, and boldly pursuing purpose. That's what that inner hunger is. It's purpose. You can be fully in something, but not be fulfilling purpose. And until you start to fulfill purpose, you're always going to have that inner hunger, that inner desire, or that inner emptiness until you fulfill it. It's just what that is. So I want to ask you this: what would you do if you weren't scared to do it? And before you go off the deep end, telling me all of the crazy stuff, right? We're solely talking about purpose and breaking out of these boxes that have been self-imposed or put on us by others. What would you do if you didn't have to worry about that? I want to throughout this whole video, I want to give you 6 steps and tips and some handouts to be able to break down those boxes to head into this next season liberated, free from the boxes. All right, so there's 6 ways that I want to talk to you about. The first way being this: you got to tear down the wall of fear. Okay. Tear down the wall of fear. Fear is often the biggest barrier to progress. It keeps us stuck in comfort zones and holds us back from the greatness we're called to achieve. But you don't have to let fear dictate your future. In 2025 or this next season, you have to make the conscious decision to confront your fears head on and break free from the chains that they placed on your life. You gotta stop. You cannot, it is not, you hear that meme, oh, you gotta do it scared. I think doing it scared is a little reckless without direction because what are you doing while you're scared? You understand what I'm saying? So there's a scripture that I use for this. It's 2 Timothy 1:7. And it says, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And in that word fear in the Greek, it means Delilah, Delia, I'm sorry. And that means timidity, not being timid, fearfulness, and cowardice. So whenever you feel that, oh my God, that's you can understand that that's not God, right? That is not your creator. That's not the Most High giving you that. That doesn't come from Him. How do you say that you stand in the image of and you're not carrying the traits of, right? So, and it's not impossible to do. It's just that when you look at the difference between fear, and that's not fear is not nervousness. Oh man, I hope everything goes right, or that's not fear. Fear is I can't do that because you understand what I'm saying? Fear is just cowering away, cowardice, shying away from avoidance. That's not all of those things have nothing to do with God or your purpose or you walking in the power and authority that you have. And in order to break of any of the boxes, you can't be afraid to break out of the box. Okay. So an actionable step for tearing down the wall of fear is start by identifying the fears that have been limiting your potential. You have to take a small step each day to face them. Okay. And whether that's speaking up for yourself in places that you hadn't before, taking risks that you have been talking about but haven't pulled the trigger on, or trying something new. If it's a new restaurant, if it's a new dating scenario where you've been closed off in the heart and you want to open up your heart again. If it's branding and you just want to focus on branding and you've been spending too much time trying to focus on love and you need to focus on the branding because the love that you're searching for, your brand is going to elevate the love that's accessible to you. Ooh, so that's the first step in doing that. And that's a muscle, right? Whenever you've been out of practice with a boundary for so long, when you get back into that gym, it's gonna be sore. It's gonna be sore a little bit when you get back in there. So you have to be able to recognize, okay, I don't need to stop after day one. The most important day is day two, right? So that's how you break out of that's step number one, breaking out of that box is tearing down the wall of fear. The second step is recognizing lids disguised as leadership. Lids aren't just physical boundaries, okay? They're mental and emotional limits that we place on ourselves or have been enforced and imposed by those over us. Lids are those toxic influences, be it people, circumstances, or our own self doubt. And those things stunt growth. It's time to break those lids off as well so that you can step into the role that God has already prepared you for. Um, and you know me, I always got a scripture reference for this as well, because we're gonna be in the book too, at least when in my coaching phase. It's because a lot of the principles that I give, they come right from the book. So they come right from there. Because to me, it's just like, wow, that just makes so much sense. I'm not trying to force uh, anything on you. I'm just letting you know how I came to this conclusion. So we're going to come First Samuel 15, and then it's First Samuel 15:35, and then First Samuel 16 and 1. I'll read them for you. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Saul mourned for Samuel. Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he made Saul king of Israel. 16 and 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn Saul, seeing as I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. There's so much to unpack right there, but for the sake of time and for what we're talking about, um, uh, the preacher in me almost popped up, but I almost wanted to yank that thing home. But so here's what we see. Saul represents leadership, because as you know, when um, David ended up being the person who replaced Saul in this whole thing, right? So Samuel, all he knew was Saul. So there was a loyalty there, there was a familiarity there, um, and the most powerful part is God repented. The situation with Saul made God repent. That's that's deep in and of itself. But after he repented, after God repented, then he was able to talk to Samuel and say, "Why are you still mourning for this? I'm not anymore. I'm not even. I washed my own hand of the choice that was made. Why are you doing? Why are you still stuck there? I can't take you there until you get unstuck from here. I need you to break the box of love for Saul so that I can show you what's next for my people and the next assignment for you. So here we got to break the lids of leadership. There are people in your life who they love you as long as you don't supersede. Right, they love you as long as you don't get too big for your britches. Right, they want to help you as long as you don't get any bigger than them. And um, got to recognize those people when it comes to a place where it is growth stunting, and then make the necessary adjustments after that. Some people will only accept you for the you that you've been. Let me say that again. Some people will only accept you for the you that you have been. So if the new you or the box broken you will if you think that it won't be offensive to them, you're sadly mistaken. Because some people can only digest the you that was comfortable for them, but becoming a new you means that they have to have a new relationship. So the actionable step here, identify areas in your life where you're being lidded, right? Whether that's by negative voices, including your own, or self-limiting beliefs, challenge these restrictions by pushing beyond them and embracing new leadership opportunities. Whenever you leave something, something new comes, but you have to leave the thing. And that's kind of where we are in today's time. We have to understand that, listen, we are not who we were or who we have been. We're not happy with that. We know that there's more. We know that and this is a conversation. We box breakers, right? This is a conversation for box breakers. So, excuse me, it's understanding and recognizing that the places that I've been are not where I want to stay. The situations that I find myself in, the relationships that I find myself in, the business that I find myself in. I want more. But before any of that happens, you have to first be repentful of the situation. Like, dang, I shouldn't have done that, or shouldn't have ended up in that opportunity. You got to forgive yourself, and then once you do that, then you can see what the next thing is going to be. So we got to break out of those leaderships break away from those lids, describing themselves as leadership, right? So number three, we have to break the either or mentality and embrace the this and that mentality. One of the most paralyzing lies we hear often is the notion that we must choose between our passions and our purposes, right? Box breaking means that you refuse to choose between this or that and instead embrace this and that. You can pursue ministry and business. You can balance family life and have a successful career. You can have both and not settle for less, right? And here's an actionable scripture base for that. It's Hebrews 7 and 1. Uh, and it says this: For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God. I'm going to say that again. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. So we have a clear example right here of an individual who was both king and priest. All right, so you can be this and that. Does it take a lot more work? Yes. Do you have the work in you to do that? That's only a question that you can answer. It's not going to be void of work doing this and that. But if you have the right systems, the right team, the right surroundings around you, you can make it happen. But it takes you being so solid on being this and that that nobody can take it from you. I remember um, coming up, and often it was told to me that if I was going to be an entrepreneur, then I had to just be an entrepreneur, or if I was going to preach or be in ministry, then I had to solely do ministry. And if I did anything else other than ministry, I wasn't serious about my call, and I never accepted that notion. I respected the places that it came from, but I never accepted that as finite for my life. And I'm glad that I didn't. Now, granted, it's a lot of work. It is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of um, people misunderstanding you or trying to purposely misinterpret what your intentions are, what you're trying to do, and so on and so forth. And then they often, as soon as they find out that you are in ministry, there is a box that they have ready for you to hop in. Uh, once once they find that out. But the key goal is knowing how you come in and standing 10 toes on that, right? Um, so if at the end of the day, if ministry was gone, my purpose is still there. You understand what I'm saying? If my purpose is people and transforming lives and building brands and things like that, then ministry or no ministry, that purpose is still there. So if you do nails and you want to be the best nail tech uh, on this side of the Mississippi, then yes, you need the skill set as a nail tech, but then you also need the skill sets that surround or buffer that skill set. You ain't doing no nails if you ain't got no customer service. You're not going to have any clients if you don't have um, a place where they feel comfortable being in to then give you their money. So there's so many other things that go into your your trade or your skill that needs soft skills. So you got hard skills, you got soft skills, and then you have the technical skills that go along with that. All of those things go together, and often in those spaces they talk about transferable skills because what you learn from a job in retail can be applied to anything that involves selling. Um, so the actionable step there is this: define your purpose and begin taking steps to integrate your passion, whether it's launching a business while serving in ministry or balancing family with your dreams or working a 9 to 5 and learning the stock market. Start making it happen. Okay. Start making it happen. There's a book by Patrick McGinnis called The 10% Entrepreneur. And in that book, he talks about how learning how to basically how to create more revenue uh, without necessarily quitting your job, right? And I second that notion because while I do believe that everybody needs to have an entrepreneurial endeavor to create more streams of income, I think that for people and brands, right, that you need to have a plan to have multiple streams of income. However, everybody isn't an entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is everybody's not, waking up tomorrow, quitting their 9 to 5 starting a cookie company. That's not what everybody's thing is. Um, and if everybody's a boss, who's the employees, right? And if you're really an entrepreneur, you know the solopreneur situation. That is, if you don't do that the right way with the right checks and balances, you are headed for burnout really, really fast. So I want to encourage you to if you have the opportunity or you have the resources to pick up that book, the 10% Entrepreneur, because again, if your goal is to create a passive income, but you don't want to quit your job, learn the stock market. Start because again, if anything that everything in earth reproduces after itself. If you want a dog is going to reproduce another dog. You're not going to get a human from two dogs, right? Two humans make another human, right? Money makes more money. So you have to use the money to make more money. Um, and that's just how that goes. So the goal of you being, if all your purpose is, you feel like your purpose is just to be the rich auntie or the rich uncle, then also consider that there's more than just Instagram posts that go along with that. There's now everybody is depending on you um, for resource. Now everybody is depending on you for supply. If you don't have the shoulders to bury that or to carry that, then you gonna also find yourself in a rude awakening, right? So let's move on. I don't want to start rambling. This is the redo, so I want to make sure that I'm getting everything, still adding value to this portion that we lost on the other one. So number four, stop seeking validation from others. Desperation for acceptance often keeps us stuck. Box breaking requires you to let go of the need for approval and validation and trust that God has already affirmed your worth. Stop waiting on approval for people who don't see your vision or understand your calling. Matthew 27 and 21. The governor answered and said unto them, whither of the twain will ye that I release unto you? And they said, Barabbas. Now, just a little background to what I just read. Um, the governor is asking the people, who do they want released? Do they want Jesus or do they want Barabbas? And the people chose Barabbas. So this to me, in order to break the box, you cannot be dependent on others. When you first launch your brand and you get all of the people saying, "Oh, I can't wait till you start your pajama business," those ain't the people who buying the pajamas. You may get one or two of those who are going to do it, but the rest of them are going to try to nickel and dime you out of, your selling point or your selling price. They're going to try to get the homie hookup. They're going to try to get you to lower your price, or they're going to try to barter with nothing to barter with. Um, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with bartering. I'm saying that you have to have something to barter with. Um, like the exchange of goods and services, if you're going to try to do that. Um, so, saying all of that to say, people will say that they want you, but then choose the other thing. You have to be okay with that and know that that's something that comes along with it. It cannot change how you see your validation, just because people who weren't meant and assigned for you didn't choose you. They chose you because they wasn't a part of what you were doing. So you got to understand that. The actionable step is start practicing self affirmation and self positive talk. Surround yourself with people who encourage and challenge you to grow, not those who keep you in a state of insecurity. All right. So we're getting rid of gaslighting all next season. We're not dealing with that. You know what you're doing. Stop playing with me. Okay. Uh, uh, challenge though, I want to clear this up. Challenge is not an attack. Okay. Challenge is not an attack. Somebody who wants the best for you wants the best for you. And you have to stop pushing people away because they're challenging you. They're not attacking you. If you said that you wanted to go to law school and they keep asking you, are you studying? That's not them uh attacking you. That's them challenging you. You said that you had a plan and a goal that you wanted to hit. How close are you to that? How can I support you in that? You can't know any of those things without challenging what a person said. All right. So self-validation and self-affirmation, you hear differently once you're healed differently. Hearing affects or healing affects your hearing. From a broken place, you'll hear a challenge as an attack. From a healed place, you'll hear a challenge as love and accountability. It's a hard thing. Moving right along. Number five, letting go of toxic loyalty. Loyalty is powerful, but it can also be a trap if you're loyal to the wrong people or ideas. Stop giving loyalty to situations or individuals that drain your energy, stunt your growth, or don't align with your purpose. Toxic loyalty is just as dangerous as betrayal because it allows you to betray yourself and call it loyalty. Man, that was a lot. That was a lot right there. So Nehemiah 6:3. And I sent messengers unto them saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? Y'all, I promise you, them people still gonna be doing what they're doing. The season that you want out of your life requires sacrifice before you get it. That's just the way it is. Do 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 do. That's just the way it is. The season that you're hoping to attain requires is waiting on the sacrifice that you yet to give. So sometimes you do have to disappear for a little while and focus on the things that are necessary and are going to be required and are prerequisites for the next season that you're entering into. It's simple. It's really, really simple to do. And without doing that, you won't ever get to the place of uh, realizing and recognizing because the more that you heal, the more that you can see toxic loyalty, right? Um, and not every loyalty is toxic, but I'm saying that everybody has a bucket, right? So if you're spending too much time with the kicking friends, or you're not spending enough time with the serious friends or the accountability friends, one is going to outplay the other. So if you're looking for a life of balance, but you're only over there, where's the balance? So you got to make it make sense. I always say this: the worst person to lie to is yourself. So let other people lie on you about what they assume that you're doing, but don't let the person that's lying to you be you. Let them have their own opinions on what it is that you think that what they think that you're doing. Let them have that. But don't lie to yourself. If you know what you're doing, stay focused on what you're doing, and what you're doing will radiate outwardly, and you'll begin to attract those things that are necessary for your next journey. Also, understand too that as you begin to radiate, some people are just curious. So they want to come and kick the tires a little bit to find out what it is that you're actually doing. So they got more to talk about. All of these things play a part. So you got to really consider the level that you looking holistically at the level that you say that you want to head to. Are you really prepared to have people turning on you? Are you really prepared to have people talking about you? And I know that you say that you've already experienced it, but as you go higher, your responses have to change. So you cannot spend all your time on the internet clapping back on social media and still get to the things that need to be done. You got to make a choice. Um, and then you have to have the thick skin to be able to endure somebody not agreeing with you. Here's an actionable step. Reevaluate the relationships in your life. Are you holding on to the people who don't help you grow or support your purpose? Start setting healthier boundaries and prioritize relationships that fuel your purpose. Okay. Uh, Here's the last one, number six. And again, all of this is going to be in the handouts that I give to you as well. So no worries on that. Refuse to play small for the sake of others' egos. You were not created to play small. Box breaking means recognizing your value, stepping into your greatness, and not shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that aren't meant for you. Stop sacrificing your potential to make others feel comfortable or to preserve egos that don't matter in the first place. John 3:28. Ye yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Christ, but I am sent before him. So what I love about that portion is um, that was the person who was speaking this is his name was John the Baptist, and he said, he knew exactly who he was and who he wasn't. He said, yeah, I know who I am. I'm not him, but I am him. Yeah, I'm not him, but I'm him though. Don't worry about it. And it's important to understand that the more that you recognize and walk into who you are, there will be people who are going to not either not be happy or upset with who it is that you are. Um, you got to be okay with that because again, that comes with the territory of elevation. Um, everybody not on the airplane, all they can do is look up. So understand that that comes with that. Here's in closing out, here's another scripture reference. This is Luke 4:16 through 20. And he came to Nazareth where he had been brought up. So again, he's this is him returning home. And as was custom, he went into the synagogue, which would be the church. He went into the church on the Sabbath day and he stood to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah. And when he opened up the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, and he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them who are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And he closed the book and gave it again to the minister and sat down. And the eyes of them who were in the synagogue all were fastened on him. So this is now Jesus going into the church to read about what's been written about him. Knowing who you are is going to have all eyes on you because they're waiting to see what it is that you're going to do. Not that they believe who you are, but they're going to watch though. So if you have a problem with being seen or watched, if you're only in it, if your appetite is for viewership, you're definitely going to get it. But if you don't have the skin that's thick enough to handle what comes with being seen, you'll fall real quick. We've seen that time and time again in social spaces recently. If you don't have the skin that's thick enough, you headed for a meltdown real quick, or some other things that's going on. We've seen it. We don't have to even I don't have the name call. We've seen these things happen and play out time and time again. So getting there unprepared leaves you susceptible to a lot of things. So here's my conclusion in this redo. As you step into 2025 or whenever you're watching this for this next season, remember that box breaking is about shattering the walls, limiting beliefs and circumstances, and it's necessary. Right? Relationships that have held you back for too long. It's about walking boldly into the freedom and purpose that God has designed for you. You're a purpose-driven individual called to impact various sectors of society. Whether it's business, ministry, education, or wellness, your voice and your actions matter. This is your season of liberation. Break the boxes, break the limits, and step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. This is your time, man. This is your time. 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 Um, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You can change that. Oh man, you got to have the boldness to do it though. You have to have the boldness to do it. Um, because everything is waiting on you to be who you need to be. Your family's waiting on you. Your purpose is waiting on you to catch up to what's already been established for your life. It's waiting on you. So you got to get going. You got to get going. So here's an action plan. I'm gonna close out with this. Reflect on the 6 points shared and choose one area you feel called to focus on for the next 30 days. Set a measurable goal to track your process as you break through these barriers, whether that's journaling, keeping a calendar, whatever you need to do. And share your goals with an accountability partner or a group to ensure support along the way. Let's finish strong in this season so we can enter into this next season as a true box breaker, empowered, liberated, and fully aligned with your purpose. Listen, y'all, the time is now. The time is now. So get going on breaking boxes so that your purpose is waiting on you.